Hello and welcome to Candidates on the Clock, hosted by the Newton County Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Dual Deco and Onyx Media Services. I'm your host, Lanier Sims. Today we're joined by incumbent Alana Sanders, is running for District 3 County Commissioner. Could you please introduce yourself, outlining your background, your experience, and additionally share some of your platform?
Awesome. Thank you so much for asking that. I am Commissioner Alana Sanders, considered the incumbent up for re-election. I am excited for re-election because there's a lot more work that we have to do. I call it the TAP IT program. That is transparency, accountability, and progress, which I have been doing. I'm a part of local organizations that have accepted me to be a part of their organizations called Local Progress, where progressive local officials fight on the local level. The reason why I'm constantly I'm going to be running for re-election is because we have a lot in District 3 that has not been done over the years, and it's time for us to move forward and have those things in process and in progress. And it's important that the people of District 3 get the things that they deserve. We pay our tax dollars, we pay our SPLOST, we pay so much, but the funding has not gone back into that district and is a disservice to the community. And that's one of the reasons why I am running for re-election, because as I stated in 2020, I'm not running for political gain or a name recognition. I've had all of that over the years. I'm here to serve the people, and that's all I'm going to do. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you. So we're going to jump into some questions. First question, what plans do you have for improving roads, bridges, and other infrastructure within Newton County?
That's a great question, which we are doing now. If you look at District 3, and I know you've been a commissioner before, a lot of our communities have not been serviced in over 20 years. So when I came in office, that was one of my initiatives. I got those subdivisions that have been waiting and been paved for 20 years. They actually been paved now. I've also got various areas that were dangerous without signage and so forth. That has been done. Communities have contacted me in regards to bridges and roads and to complete those different things. That has been completed. There's still more to do because, as you know, being a newly elected official, you can't do everything in 4 years. So one of the things I am proud of saying in regards to infrastructure as well as building, I know we're going to get to that question, I believe that we need to take care of Quarl Road. We need to take care of Brown Bridge. We need to take care of Salem before we keep building. The infrastructure needs to be in place. The issue with a lot of our residents in District 3 is that they are tired and frustrated of sitting in traffic, can literally see their homes sitting in traffic, can get out and walk, but they can't because we don't have the infrastructure in place. We grew so fast and rapidly, which is great. That's great. But we have to do smart growth. And so my plan is to make sure that smart growth is in place. I have been in contact with GDOT to see when we're going to move forward with this wonderful Salem Road that has not progressed yet. They have pushed it back. But I want to make sure that we have all of that infrastructure in place before we can actually move forward and talk about building more.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. In light of recent disagreements among commissioners and the necessity for a more unified approach, how do you intend to foster better relationships, find common ground, and promote unity to ensure a more effective governing body? And there's a second part.
I see that, yes, go ahead. In regards to, as we say, commissioners and necessity unified approach, you're going to have disagreements on any board that you work on. I'm pretty sure you've worked in corporate where you may have worked with somebody you didn't particularly care for.
Right.
But you got the goal, you got the job done. The goal was to make sure that job was done and to take care of the people or wherever you work, the product is put out there and so forth. We have to put pettiness aside and not think about personal feelings. We're gonna have those disagreements because that's what it's supposed to be. We're put in place to represent a community. Your community wants to see you fight for them and not always just agreeing and going with the status quo, because you are put in place to represent a community. If you're on a board where everybody agrees all the time, I tell people this, you need to check what's happening behind the scenes because nobody's speaking up, nobody's talking, who's having the meeting before the meeting. That is a problem. So you're going to have those disagreements. God made us all different. We're unique. So no one is going to agree all the time. But we have to understand that we are adults. Everybody has a voice. And we have to respect each one's voice and respect each one's opinion. And at the end of the day, it's about the people and not about us. So when you put your personal feelings aside and think about that we're in this position and we were put in place by the people who are our bosses and work for the people, then those issues would cease.
Second part, how do you intend to involve residents in the decision-making process and address their concerns?
I've been doing that since 2020. I've been hosting town hall meetings every month since 2020. Anytime that an issue that concerns the community, that can be a detriment to the community, I bring every situation forward. I'm probably the most transparent elected official you're gonna ever see, because I believe that I'm put in place to represent the people as a voice, but they should be a part of decision making. In 2020, that's what I ran on. I want the people to be a part of the decision-making process. And that's why I have those town halls. When developers come into the community, one of my requests from those developers is to have a town hall with the community. Hear from the people, hear what they have to say. How can we have that happy medium? It's very important. So in regards to decision-making processes and addressing various concerns, I've done that and been doing it and continue to do it to this day.
Okay, thank you. As new industries bring a demand for housing, what are your views on zoning regulations, and how will you balance the need for housing with considerations such as density, location, building standards, aiming for sustainable growth while maintaining Newton County's character?
That is a wonderful question. I just actually set a housing symposium where I'm going to be the one putting on the chopping block to listen to the residents. That's on May 2nd. So they'll be able to come to the courthouse, tell me the concerns, and bring solutions. But in reference to where we are, the mass building started before I even came on this board. So I am trying to help solve that problem. In 2022, the board came together to look at all of our ordinances. We were in a moratorium for almost 2 years. And we looked at the ordinances, they had people look over them for us, and we looked at the acreage. There used to be where you can build 7 to 8 houses on an acre in District 3. The board came together and we decreased that to 3 houses on an acre in District 3. Now, as you heard me say in the beginning, in regards to infrastructure, we need to go back into a moratorium. Why do we need to go back into a moratorium? It's because we need to make sure the infrastructure is in place. I am not in no way against building, but I'm for smart growth. If the infrastructure is not in place, the problem is going to constantly progress. We have to get those roads in place. We have to get the sewage in the right areas. Some of my subdivisions, like Silver Ridge, every time there's building around them, there is black water coming out of their pipes. We don't want to contaminate our people just because we want to see houses being built. Let's take care of the problem first before we constantly keep building, and also hear from the residents on how we're going to do the smart growth. Because as we know, District 3 is full. Like they say in Alana, we're full. We're full. And so we have to figure out, once this infrastructure is in place, where are we going to go? And also on our residents on the east side, you know, they have issues in regards to building. They want to stay rural. They want to stay where they need to be. As I told them in the meeting, you have to talk to your commissioners in those areas and find out what's the happy medium. Because I don't live in your area. So I understand that you are thinking these things are going to be embarking upon your livelihood and the change in your area, but you got to find a happy medium. Because why? We have the state that's going to put infrastructure and put building in here, and we are subsidiaries of the state. We can't tell the state what to do. So when they put those things in place, we have to have a plan, a happy medium on how we're going to move forward with growth and how we're going to move forward with building. Placing one house on 3 to 5 acres is not realistic. I know they're probably going to get me for saying this. It's not realistic, especially during this affordable housing time. We don't have affordable housing. Georgia is in a 400,000 in the east metro area, Atlanta area, 400,000 house deficit. So there's no affordable housing nationwide anywhere. So how are we going to move forward with affordable housing? We have to have some type of happy medium, because your average worker, your essential worker, cannot afford to survive in this economic state.
Thank you. Next question is, what steps will you take to ensure the county is prepared for emergencies and natural disasters?
I've done that. I took the 8-hour class training with FEMA in DC, where I actually am the only commissioner certified by FEMA in regards to emergency preparedness. I've actually sat there in that 8-hour training in DC on all of the resources that we have when we go back into a natural disasters. and all of the policies for our residents to submit their applications and how they change everything. So I'm prepared. I'm ready. Hopefully we won't go back into disaster and I won't have to use my certification, but I'm ready and prepared for that, and that's why I took that course, because I wanted to make sure that when we go back into a COVID, we have a storm like we did a couple of years ago, where FEMA had to come be housed here in Newton County, that we're ready, because those processes in place were not feasible for our community. A lot of them didn't know how to complete the applications. It was a process, a wait time was just too long. So FEMA has changed that. They heard from the people and changed those things to make it easier for those when we go into a natural disaster, that it's easy for them to be able to accumulate or to be able to receive those resources and funds. So Commissioner Sanders is certified and prepared and ready to handle business.
Thank you. As new industries move into the area, creating job opportunities, what strategies will you employ to inform local residents about these jobs? And then I have a second part.
Okay. What we need to do is also stay in contact with economic development as well, and also the Industrial Development Authority, as when jobs are coming in place. We also need to probably set a department that's actually posting these jobs on a regular. Now, we do have our county website that posts a lot of the jobs that are coming in place, but we don't have a website that may post all of the jobs here in Newton County. So your residents don't know what's going on. We have about 65% of our population that works outside of Newton County, and so that is a problem because they're not able to make the money that they want to make that they're making in Atlanta and Newton County. So when these new jobs are coming into place, we probably need to team up with our technology institutions and our colleges to see how we can train our different individuals to be able to have those particular jobs. So when those jobs come in place, they're not always looking for somebody on the outside to employ, but they're first getting our residents here in Newton County who live here so they can live, work, and play.
You actually answered the second part of the question. Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on to the next question. How will you ensure that residents are engaged in the decision-making process and have their voices heard?
That's kind of similar to the question a little earlier. I have town halls. I have meetings. I have consistent meetings with my constituents. I'm probably easy access. They can contact me, text me, they can do various things and call me. They can hit me up on my social media website. So they have all access to me in regards to decisions they make. Anytime that there's a meeting, especially a planning and zoning in District 3, I make sure I post it online so they see it. A lot of the residents do not see the communication from our county. Being a communication major and my background is in marketing, our communication is a little bit antiquated. We have to upgrade our communication devices and also reach the masses. Everyone is not receiving the information. Everybody's not on social media, and some just only read it in the paper or they need a newsletter, something that goes out where we have to meet every resident in some form or capacity. And so in regards to decision-making process, it's communication, keeping them informed, having those town halls. I know as elected officials, we don't want to have those hard conversations, but that's why we're put in place. So you have to involve the people in all of the communication process and the decision-making process in order to have a viable community. And so what I definitely do all the time is include them in every decision-making process that I have. My vote is not my vote. My vote is the people vote. My vote is District 3 vote. My vote is Newton County vote. So I listen and I hear from the people.
Thank you. And thank you for participating in Candidates on the Clock. Ms. Sanders, if you take a minute and give us any additional information about your campaign, how the voters can get in touch with you, and any closing remarks.
Most definitely. You can contact me at commissionersanders.com on every social network possible. You can also call me as well on my campaign phone line. But one of the things about District 3 and your Commissioner Alana Sanders, is that I'm going to work for the people. I fight for the people. And the great thing about our community is my vote is yours. As we fought the Dollar General and we won that, and we're getting press in regards to being one of the counties, one of the districts that fought box stores in the nation, we have made news lines. We are the ones who are standing up, who are being progressive and seeking the change. It's about wanting a better community. We all want a better community. My district is the only district that does not have parks and recreation. And in 2024, that is a problem. So we have to make sure we put those things in place for our youth, so when they become the next leaders and want to come back to Newton County, there's something for them to come back to. We have to put all those things in place. So a vote for me is a vote for growth. A vote for me is a vote for the next leaders in the future. A vote for me is making sure we progress within Newton County and a person who would fight and does not follow agendas. I am Alana Sanders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good?
Thank you.